This is kind of contradicting what I've been telling you. When I'm driving through neighborhoods, I am looking for high grass and overgrown bushes. But this turned out to be a grand slam. And the reason that I felt this was a hidden market is because when I drove by, it looked vacant. I had this sixth sense. I said, that house has got to be vacant. It just looks vacant. See, that's the car I was driving. That's why there's a car there. I pulled in the driveway and I went over here, and there's a door on the side, and I knocked on the door and no one answered. So I went to look in this window right here. And in that window, the whole room was filled with black plastic garbage bags filled with I don't know what. So what I did is I I went to the front door and knocked, and nobody answered. And then I went over to the neighbor. I said, "Hey, does anybody live in that house next door?" And he goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Him and 30 cats live in that house." And the neighbor said that house is so disgusting. It's so filthy that he goes, "I have reported him to the code enforcement many times." And so I said, "Well, I'd buy that house if he'd sell it, and I'd clean it up. Do you know if he might be interested in selling? What does he do? Tell me more about him." He goes, "I don't know what he does. He comes and goes, but he is disgusting." And sorry to be so blunt, but that's what the neighbor said. So, folks, I left a letter on his door. And then I went on my merry way, but I went back the next day and I knocked again. You see, follow up. Every time I go out, I find 30 hidden markets. But if I don't follow up, I lose a lot of deals. So I went back the next day and knocked. Still nobody answered. I went back the next day. Nobody answered. I kept leaving a note. And then I waited a day and I skipped a day. And then I went back on the fifth day and he was home. And I said, "Hey, I'm looking to buy a home in this area, and I wanted to know, would you be interested in selling yours?" He said, "No." He goes, "The code enforcement said that I had to, basically gut the house within they've given me 60 days to gut the house and remodel the inside, or they're going to condemn it." And I said, "So what are you going to do?" He said, "I don't have any money." He goes, "I don't even have a job." He goes, "My mom left this house to me, and it was free and clear, so I've never had to make a payment, but I don't have any money." So I said, "Well, what are you going to do?" He goes, "I'm going to let him condemn it. My brother told me I could live with him. So I'm moving in with my brother." And I said, "But I would buy the house." And he said, "You don't want this house." Even he said it was disgusting. I said, "Well, could I see the inside?" So when he took me in, folks, as soon as we walked in, on the door jamb, there were roaches crawling up and they were falling on my head. And it's in because those garbage bags in the room, they were all filled with garbage. And there was just roaches everywhere. And I thought there was rats, but because things kept jumping out at me, and I was terrified. But it was cats. They were all stashed in there in amongst everything. And the house was full of all that garbage because he couldn't afford a garbage service. So he just threw it in that one room. And the inside was so disgusting, I never even made it to the back master bedroom. I said, "That's okay. I've seen enough." I told the guy, I said, you know, I I can, that's what I do. I fix up houses. I said, "I can get this place fixed up if you'll sell it." I said, "Don't you need some money?" He goes, "Well, I was just going to let them have it." I said, "How much would you take for it?" He said, "Hell, I don't know, 20,000." Well, folks, If I'd have made a normal offer, I would have offered 50 or 60, but because the land is worth that much. But he, when he said 20, I always carry blank contracts in a file folder in the back of my car. I went and got a thing and I said, okay, I'll give you 20. And I filled out a contract and I said, all you got to do is sign right here and I'll give you 20,000 for this. And he looked at me and he said, I feel like I'm ripping you off. He said, should we make it 10? And I said, no. I said, we've already filled out the contract. I have an inspection clause. If my inspector finds anything that's devastating, we can renegotiate. But 20, let's leave it at 20.